Hey guys, welcome back to Spread Crushers. This is episode 4. I've got a good friend joining us today, a former college teammate, and a good buddy of mine, Kyle Bennett with Diamond Kinetics.
Ben, how you doing, buddy? It's good to see you. Good to be with you, and obviously happy to be here to talk about Diamond Kinetics and what we can do for people.
Absolutely, man. I'm really thrilled about this interview. I think we're going to have a lot of really good content coming from your end of things. For those of you watching this who don't know, Diamond Kinetics, Kyle's going to elaborate for us, but this is some fantastic technology that's jumped into the game of baseball and softball as well. And we're seeing some crazy new things happening. Kyle, I'd like to just go ahead and jump right in here. Go ahead and talk to us about what company it is you work for. How did they start? What's their origin? And then kind of how you got tied into this and how you jumped aboard.
Yeah, definitely. So Diamond Kinetics was a startup company formed back in I think we started doing business back in 2013, and actually the whole thing kind of to take it back a step. The whole thing started with our co-founder Buddy Clark, and Buddy had a son and daughter who both played college baseball, college softball. And growing up, he coached them, right? He raised them and coached them and brought them up through Little League, all that stuff. And he's to give you guys an idea on who Buddy Clark is, he's a mechanical engineer at the University of Pittsburgh. So very, very bright individual, understands, a lot of the stuff on the engineering side, on the, mechanical side. And a lot of parents and players used to come to Buddy and say, what size bat should my son or my daughter be swinging, right? And he took it upon himself to say, I need to figure this out. I'm a mechanical engineer. Like, this is right up my alley.
Sure.
I can do this, right? And so, he kind of went from there. And that's when, the idea of putting a sensor onto a bat and measuring what it does all kind of came about to him. And he ended up partnering with our CEO and other co-founder, CJ Handren. And they got together, started working on this thing, and came up with the idea of putting that sensor on the bat and actually, starting to measure, what it does, and then trying to figure out, maybe what bat length and weight would be proper for a certain player. And so it was kind of crazy that it all spawned from there. And all of a sudden, to kind of jump forward to today in 2020, I mean, we're manufacturing a piece like this big, that is doing, the things that it does. Obviously, we're going to get into that today. But so the company started that way. And we started selling sensors in 2015. And, it started to take off. It was a really unknown concept. People liked it, but weren't sure about it. And obviously, over the years here, we've grown, we've expanded. We've moved into putting this sensor into a real baseball, right? And also, this is not a real softball, but into a softball as well. So we are expanding our product lines. From the days of having a box strapped to the handle of a bat, to being able to do something this small and do something like this inside of this. So it's come a long way. I was fortunate to join the company in 2018. They needed somebody here on the West Coast, and my coaching and sales experience lined up perfectly with what they were looking for. And thankfully they chose me, because I love this company. I love what we do. And I'm a baseball guy through and through, and the fact that we can do so many things with these to help baseball and softball players around the world truly makes my job and my daily life really, really rewarding.
Yeah, that's perfect, man. So right where you were hitting on there, I'm going to go ahead and let you take this interview here. I want you to talk to us, all the viewers included, whether these are parents. I know we got players watching this. We're going to have coaches watching this, and you're going to bring aboard just a little sample, I know, because it's so in-depth here, and it's got some incredible material. I'm going to let you take this away, but talk to us right now. Go ahead and share your screen of what's going to happen with the hit tracker and the pitch tracker. This is where it's going to get really fascinating. So I'm going to sit back and let you have this.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm going to share my screen here with everybody, and and hopefully, you know, it comes through here, but we will, we'll start this broadcast, and I'm going to take you guys really quick, you know, through Swing Tracker and kind of what it looks like and how we're able to utilize this to measure and evaluate players, right? So we can do things with our sensor. Obviously, that little black thing I was just showing you guys. We can do a whole lot of things with it. We can create baseline measurements on players. We can objectively rank and evaluate players in the sense of, hey, you know, I'm going to a showcase and I'm going to collect metrics there, and I'm going to be one of, you know, 400 or 500 players at that camp. I'm going to figure out where I stack up. We have the ability with our metrics to measure and objectively rank and evaluate players. So, you know, while you guys are looking at the screen here, I just want to pop into a couple things and show you just what our product is about, how it can help you develop as a player, and just some of the features that we can do here. So I'm going to hop into a session really quick. We're going to pop back in here, find a session with some swings in it, and then we're going to come back in and actually go through these swings here. So one of the things that's really nice about our app is every time you have this sensor on your bat and it is connected to our app, you take a swing and make contact with a pitch, we are going to replicate a 3D model of that swing every single time, okay? You are able to move this around. You can do it. It's 360-degree view. We can look at it from any angle we want, and we can see that bat path, okay? One of the cool things about this is we measure distance in the zone, right? One of the key components to hitting is being able to be in the zone early and stay in the zone for a long time, right? If we do that, we are able to be late and still be successful. And if we're a little early, we can still be successful, okay? So everything that you see here in blue is called distance in the zone. We measure when you enter the hitting zone and when you exit. So prime example here, we're looking at a player who probably has a small distance in the zone measurement of 36, right? So what this player is doing is they're getting in the zone a little late. We would like to see the blue kind of extend back here towards the player's back hip a little bit more and allow that bat to get in the zone a little bit earlier, right? So looking at it from above, we can see all that blue area is when the bat enters the hitting zone and exits the hitting zone. Everything you see in red is contact point, right? So now we know where contact is. We know how long we were in the zone before contact and how long we were in the zone after contact, okay? The other things that we can do, we can measure barrel speed, we can measure impact momentum, max acceleration, trigger to impact, which is load to contact. Just to give some context behind that measurement right there, the trigger to impact metric, anything 180 and below is considered high level for a high school player and above. And then Mookie Betts is right around that 130, 135 mark. So you can kind of see the range that it takes to be a successful hitter from the high school level all the way up to the major leagues, right? Again, we have approach angle. We capture hand speed, hand cast distance, which is nice, right? So if we look over the top, we look at hand cast distance, we're able to see how far those hands actually travel away from the body at any given point throughout the swing, okay? Another cool feature is if you want to see this swing play through again, you hit the play button, it will 3D model and replay that exact same swing for you. If you would like to compare swings, we can play them over top one another and give you the ability to see these swings here. I'm set up on the Zoom, otherwise I would show you another feature here, but if you turn your device to landscape and you turn it horizontal, these will actually pop up side by side and give you the ability to see each swing side by side so you can compare one to the other, okay? We also have the ability to capture video, which is very nice because you can have a 3D model alongside with your video, and you can compare the two back and forth and see the 3D model and see your live swing. One of the other cool features that we can do here is actually set up damage potential. And so although we're not capturing this with a camera, we are still doing it with our sensor. We are able to give you an estimated exit velocity and estimated carry distance based on the DK measurements that we capture. So if you guys are hitting in a cage, obviously, and I know you're out in the Midwest and winters and falls can be kind of ugly. If you guys are in a cage and you want to know, you know, a rough estimation as to how fast and how far you're hitting the ball, this is a great tool for you. It gives you a realistic idea of what your potential was on that particular swing, right? If we click another one, we can see those numbers change, right?
Yeah.
And as we go through, we're able to see kind of how fast and how far we hit the ball, which is nice because, again, not everybody gets to get outside like we do here in California. Yeah. We're very blessed. Yeah. But at the end of the day, you know, not everyone's as blessed as we are. So having something like this to where you can kind of get a gauge as to how far the ball actually went when you're only hitting it maybe 70 feet to the back of the cage, or, you know, even less, right? 55-foot tunnels. So yeah, absolutely. Having something like this is very, very, very important, right? Again, we have all of these metrics here. I'm bringing them up on the screen here so we can see them, right? Again, the one thing I mentioned earlier is we can objectively rank and evaluate players based on their abilities. And we do that with the top 3 metrics you see here, which are max barrel speed, impact momentum, and max acceleration, okay? The higher those 3 numbers are, the higher the ability of the player. Granted, that player still needs to make contact with the ball, still needs to be on plane. There's a lot of other factors that go into that, but based on pure ability alone, the higher those 3 numbers are, barrel speed, impact momentum, max acceleration, the better the player is, okay? Really quick, before I dive more into the metrics, a quick story on how we know these metrics are true and accurate. We test Baseball Factory, Softball Factory, Perfect Game, and USA Baseball. So we measure some of the top programs in the country. And what we've found is that if you rank in the 99th percentile in these 3 metrics, you're going to be picked in the top 10 picks in the draft. Okay. Wow. Prime example. Yes. Prime example is Bobby Witt Jr., last year's #2 overall pick to the Kansas City Royals. He was a high school shortstop out of Texas. His dad was the only player in MLB history to grade 80 in every score, right? But this kid, phenomenal player on his own, with or without his father. He graded out in the 99th percentile in all 3 of our metrics: barrel speed, impact momentum, max acceleration, okay? That's why he was picked #2 overall. His athleticism, his ability to put the bat on the ball, and with those type of power metrics is why he was selected 2nd, right? So again, those 3 metrics are rankables. Everything else you see, trigger to impact time, down to distance in the zone, are all rangeable. So those can have ranges. You know, not every person has to hit a certain, you know, number in order to be successful. There's ranges. So, I mean, you could have a little bit slower hand speed, but have a quicker trigger to impact time, and that will allow you to do different things. So, you know, the 3 rankables are up top. Everything else is kind of a range. Obviously, if we have more time, Ben, we would get into those, but
sure.
Wanted to talk about that really quick.
Absolutely.
Hey, one of the cool features here is that we have the ability to compare ourselves. If I was in here swinging as a hitter myself, I was a player, I wanted to get some reps and I wanted to see where I stacked up against my age groups, I have the ability to do so here. So obviously I have collegiate others selected because obviously I play Division II baseball. Yep. I wanted to compare myself to them. How do I stack up against other Division II, Division III, NAIA, junior college baseball players around the country? Okay. If I want to compare myself to D1 players, I want to play Division I baseball someday, I'm going to compare myself to them. So we'll compare ourselves to D1. Boom, done. Now, obviously, we have that set up. Okay. I'm going to go into the performance tab here. Now you can see that gold bar going across the top. Okay. And you guys, everyone looking at barrel speed here. Yep. 69 miles an hour is the top 15% for Division I college baseball players, right? If you do not have a barrel speed in the 65 to 72 range, you're just an average player. If you are in that 68 to 72 range, you're above average player, right? Yep. So we have the metric benchmarks in here. We have the ability to show you where you stack up against your competition, right? So if anyone wants to, go take some swings and, hey, I want to be a D1 player someday, compare yourself to D1 players, see where you stack up. Do your numbers measure up to what it takes to play at the Division I level? Maybe not. And that's okay, but at least right? And it kind of gives you an idea on what level may or may not be suited for you. And again, that can all change with a lot of other factors, but this gives you a baseline understanding of where you need to be in order to be at that level.
Yeah, makes complete sense.
Right.
Absolutely. It's fascinating stuff, man.
Yeah. All right. So again, we can measure your performance. We can track it over time. You can see all of these little dots here are all different sessions, right? So I can see my averages, okay? Basically, at the end of the day, Diamond Kinetics Swing Tracker is going to be able to give you guys a baseline measurement of what you can do as a player. It's going to allow you to track your performance over time. And it's going to give you the ability to share this data with coaches who want it and understand it and know that if you hit certain benchmarks for them, you're a player on their radar.
Makes complete sense. I like that. I like that. I think that's something that's really imperative, almost paramount, that these younger players who aspire, just like you're saying, to whether it be to go Division II or NAIA or Division I or at the professional level, these coaches here are going to be looking at this data. This is trending heavily. And I think that. I know that'll be one thing we touch on after we get through these is going back to what are college coaches looking at. So this is really, really good information. And just to interject quickly, if I was a player or a parent watching this video, which I hope this video is really widely shared, I hope you guys are listening to Kyle here in his speech talking about why this stuff is so important from the measurables. This gives you guys direct correlation to other athletes your age or the athletes that are a little bit older than you that you aspire to be at their level. This is direct feedback and direct measurables that coaches will be looking at. They are going to use this information. So that's great stuff, Kyle.
Absolutely, absolutely. And everything you said, Ben, was spot on. So really quick, obviously we talked about, being able to measure the swing, evaluate what's good, what's bad. We do all that stuff. We also now have another component to our system that is honestly revolutionizing the game, okay? So everyone wants to work on the swing. Everyone wants to focus on the mechanics and how to make the perfect swing and how to make the right swing every single time, right? At the end of the day, you still need to get a pitch to hit, right? And Ben, you and I were on the pitching side. Our job day in and day out was to not give that pitch to that hitter, right?
Yep.
And so understanding that the approach aspect, when you are trying to come up as a hitter, when you are trying to become an elite hitter, your mechanics and your swing, it doesn't matter if it is spot on and flawless. If you do not select the right pitch, you're never going to have success, right? And Ben, you and I made a living of making hitters swing at the wrong pitch.
Yeah, that's
right.
You're not wrong.
Right. And so the idea is knowing what pitch you do the most damage on would be a key piece to being able to set up an approach and have the best opportunity for success, right?
Correct.
So one of the things that we're doing on the hitting side is we are doing what we're calling a swing fingerprint, okay? And once a player takes at least 30 to 50 swings in our app, obviously more is better, but if they take at minimum 30 to 50 swings in our app, we can objectively tell them where the best spot in the strike zone and where their worst spot in the strike zone is to swing at. Okay.
That's incredible. But it makes perfect sense. I can see the image you were putting back there with the swing plane and how the hands cast. And as an instructor, man, it makes perfect sense now because we can tell this to kids. We can tell this to parents. And I know you've been in the instruction business for a long time as well, but it's hard. Now with this information, these kids and these parents and these coaches can now see it and understand, oh, wow, I really am weak to an inside fastball. Or, wow, my barrel plane promotes directly toward a slider low and away. And that's why I handle that pitch so well. So this is incredible. And this is what I want a lot of parents, players, and coaches to see. So please dive into this just a little bit more.
So check this out. So how we measure this, we call it a barrel slot, right? And so basically think of a Rubik's Cube. Before I put up the picture, once I put up the picture, everyone's going to go, oh my gosh, I get it. But really quick, just to give you a kind of visual to kind of get you guys, thinking, get your minds working here, is think about a Rubik's Cube, right? And think about, hot and cold, okay? And if we were saying, if you're hot, you're good. And if you're cold, you're not. Okay. Yeah. Now, if you as a hitter at home were thinking about the perfect pitch, the 3-1, the 2-0, the 0-0, right? Those hitter counts, those plus counts, when you want a specific pitch. Before I show you anything, I want to challenge everyone at home to think about what their perfect pitch is, what location, what zone. Is it up? Is it front? Is it back? Is it down? Is it in? Is it out? Okay. Think about what that is, and then go take a swing fingerprint with Diamond Kinetics swing tracker and get something like this.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is so crazy. Yeah.
This is what we are able to do for you. And this is not cookie cutter. This does not apply to every hitter. This is individualized and customized to every single hitter who has their account with Diamond Kinetics, okay? Everything that you see in bright red is where this player can do the most damage, right? If you look at the bottom and see my potential distance, I have the ability to hit a ball 373 feet if I catch it up in the zone, either up and in or up and away.
Yep.
Okay? Even if I let that ball travel a little bit back, maybe middle away or middle in, based on the app, and again, I'm just being honest, these are not all my swings, but I'm giving the explanation as if they are.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So this is telling me that I crush the pitch up. I can handle the pitch up in the zone, but I cannot touch anything deep and inside, okay? Which is not necessarily at the end of the day a bad thing, right? Because if I'm catching a ball, you guys, if you can see kind of, for lack of better words,
yeah, we're on
under his crotch here. You can see the dark blue, right? If I'm catching a ball there and I'm trying to hit a baseball in that location, I am never going to be successful. So obviously that area should be a little bit blue, right? Yep. Unless you have some crazy uppercut swing and you're really short, like that should be blue, right? Yep. But ideally what we want to do is we want to have solid elevation and solid heading angles, which will allow us to produce the most damage in certain areas, okay? So again, it's really easy to understand. Red is good, blue is bad. Yep. Purple, you're kind of in the middle, all right? It's a very easy, understandable visual for a player, right? Yep. Hey, if you want to set up an approach, if you are 0-0, 1-0, 2-0, 3-1, you better be looking for a pitch in these red zones. Yep. If you're 0-2, 2-2, 1-2, you should be protecting and obviously looking in your hot zone, but protecting your blue zones.
Yeah.
Right?
Makes perfect sense, man. Yeah, this is all the information as instructors and coaches we try to relay to kids based upon what we see in games and what we see in batting practice sessions. But like I was alluding to previously, it's really hard for players to understand this and relay information that's being taken, from a coach's, words through their ears and trying to apply it. I think the beauty right now, and for those of you watching, this is my first time ever seeing this too. And while I've got a little bit of, professional baseball background and this stuff, I've talked with other instructors and we know this just from the inherent aspect of playing the game. This is my first time seeing it, and it connects all the dots here, and it's just really, really incredible information applied with the ability to portray it correctly to see this. And one thing I want to say, Kyle, is this here isn't necessarily, and I know there's probably going to be a couple of viewers that have some beliefs of, well, they're preaching launch angle or they're preaching this. No. See, I think right here what this is preaching is see ball in your best spot, your best zone, get your best swing off, and hit the ball as hard as possible, right? There's obviously a component to creating backspin, and we know that. But we want to hit the ball hard. And what this diagram right here in front of us is illustrating is your hot zones and where your strengths are at. And I think that's absolutely crucial for players and parents and coaches to understand about each athlete and how individualized that really is.
Yeah. So Ben, let me ask you, and this is you to me to you.
Yeah.
How many times when you were a hitter, which obviously you and I both late in our careers were not hitters,
Correct,
but when you were a hitter, how much success did you have when you hit a ball right on the ground, right at somebody?
Yeah, I mean, none. In short, it wasn't very successful.
Right. So how much more success did you have when you hit the ball on a line or you squared the ball up, right? It kind of knuckled off your bat or you hit it on a hard line drive. How much more success did you have?
I mean, it went up significantly.
Right. So at the end of the day, we're not talking about launch angle here. We're talking about putting you in a position to get more success.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, we all understand that this game is a game of failure. Ben, we thrived on failure. Hitters get themselves out 7 out of 10 times and they're good, right? But now what we're doing is we're helping the player take the guesswork out of where they should be looking and where they should be focusing their attention on based on the count and based on the leverage they do or don't have, right? So if you are in a plus count, you and I know this as a pitcher, if we are in a negative count as a pitcher, we have to feed him something. We don't want to feed him his best pitch, but we don't want to give in and go even deeper in our count. So if a hitter understands his strike zone, he understands his area where he's good, where he needs to, maybe lay off. Now he's redefining his focus and he is shortening the window that he has to cover.
Yeah, that's incredible stuff there, Kyle. That's really good, man. Really good. Now, I don't want to cut you short on the hitting, but if we can switch
really quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna give you this, and we'll switch.
Perfect.
We also do a write-up with it. Okay.
Oh,
what you can see on the screen right now is we do a pre-generated write-up, so you get a visual and you get a written report. I will not spend time on this. It gives you your overall, what we think your swing sets up overall, what you do really well, and what you need to work on.
That's good. That's
very,
awesome.
very powerful tool because you get a write-up and you get the visual. All right, Ben, let's talk pitching. Let's talk pitching.
This is where I really want to be right here. That hitting was great. I want to see what you've got for pitching.
All right, we're jumping into Pitch Tracker now, okay? Pitch Tracker, I showed you guys the baseball. I'll bring it back into camera once I'm done sharing this stuff. This is a real-life baseball, minus the fact that you can't hit it. Everything else about it is real. There's no cords. There's no cables. It charges wirelessly. It connects via Bluetooth. It is a flat seam, 100% leather, real baseball. I think this ball feels exactly like an MLB ball, to be completely honest with you. It has that feel. It is not cheaply made like some others out there. This is the real deal. All right. And what we're doing with this is we are competing with probably, the most expensive technology out there at a fraction, and I mean fraction of the cost. Okay. Yeah. We have the ability to capture, I'll show you here in just a second. I got some video in here too, which will be kind of nice. So let's get to it. So this is actually a high school kid here who is probably going to be a first-round draft pick this year, but is a UCLA commit. And so what we're able to do is on every throw that you make with our baseball, as long as it's connected to our app, we're going to give you release velocity. So what the velocity is right out of hand, all right? the spin rate, so it's revolutions per minute, but how many revolutions per minute that ball is spinning, and I will get into how important those are, right? Which the spin rate is very, very important. And then here you can also see spin direction, and that's the arrow, that green arrow that is circling the baseball there on the clock face. You will see the clock time on the right-hand side there, 9:30. That shows us that this player on this particular pitch was almost on the side of it, almost a sidearm left-handed throw, right?
Yeah.
And so he's on the side of it there, and you see that blue bar that's going from top to bottom?
Yeah.
That is the axis of spin.
Okay.
So we actually now capture 3D spin axis. I'm going to get to it down here as you see me scrolling across. I'll get back to some of these other metrics here in a second, but we do also have vertical and horizontal break and spin efficiency. So formerly, until now, getting this type of information would have cost you at minimum $5,000 and upwards of about $20,000. Actually, $40,000 is the high end. So $5,000 to $40,000 used to be what it cost to get this information. We are right now under $100, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
So now we have spin efficiency, vertical and horizontal break. We have vertical and horizontal break force, which is the sharpness of break on a particular pitch. We have time to plate. So basically, coaches, throw away your stopwatch, use the app. If your player is over a 1.25 as a right-hander, over a 1.4 as a left-hander, you know you have a problem, okay?
Yep.
Reach back to release is arm speed. So once the arm gets into the cock position, how long from there to actual release? That metric is very important because you can see, if you see a spike in that number, you see that number go from 0.87 to 0.92, 0.93, 0.95, something like that. You know the player is slowing their arm up on a particular pitch.
Yeah, okay? That's a great point, man. That's really, really good. You could also probably see some hitches in a mechanical delivery from something like that. That's fascinating.
Yes, 100%. So again, then we also have delivery time. So I know a lot of coaches out there. I am one of those coaches in particular that likes good tempo in a delivery.
Yep.
We measure that. So once the player starts their movement to when they release the ball, that is that delivery time right there, right? If I have a player that's like a 1.3, 1.5 in their delivery time, they're losing power, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what I want them too. Yep.
Yeah, and I want that delivery. I want all that energy that we're creating in together and gone. I need it quick. I need it now, right?
Yep.
So that delivery time is very important to me. The next one that we measure is extension, right? So now I can start looking at perceived velocity, right?
That's just what I was going to ask you about. This is what I want a lot of people to talk about or hear about when you talk about this, because I want you to teach us about actual velocity, what we're seeing in the top left corner, and perceived velocity, because this is what we used to call, along with spin rate, which I know you're going to touch on, this is what we used to call invisibles, when a guy's throwing 84 and nobody can hit it and we can't figure out why. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about this.
Yeah. So extension is key in a lot of ways. Like, it can be good, it can be bad, it can be okay. There's a lot of things here that come into play. But so extension is measured from where the ball comes set to where it is actually released out in front towards home plate. Depending on the pitcher, it's going to be a little bit different each time. So this extension measurement is reliant on where the player sets and then where they actually release out in front. If you have somebody, just for example, because I want to get this out of the way, if you have somebody who sets like really off their back hip and their hands are kind of away from the hitter, kind of towards second base, their extension numbers are going to be a little bit larger. Okay. But on the general sense, extension plays a part in perceived velocity, right? Average extension in the MLB right now is approximately 5 feet 11 inches, 5 feet 10, 6 feet, depends on who you talk to, but it's about 6 feet, 5'10" to 6 feet. The players that have the ability to release the ball 1.5 to 2 feet farther in front than the average gain approximately 2 to 4 miles an hour on their fastball in perceived velocity. So I'll give you an example on this. Noah Syndergaard obviously throws almost 100 every single time, right? He averaged in 2018, he averaged 98.6 miles an hour on his fastball. But Noah Syndergaard is also like 6'7", something like that, 6'8", and his extension is almost 1.5 feet greater than the average pitcher in Major League Baseball. So his 98.6 mile an hour fastball out of his hand turns into 101.3.
Wow.
101 miles an hour.
Wow. That's incredible, man.
Right? And so just to touch on that too, it works the opposite way. If a player is short striding their motion and their delivery, they are taking miles an hour off their fastball.
Yeah.
Right? So again, extension is one of the other metrics we capture, spin directions, and then spin rate, right? And so I want to tell the story here, Ben.
Yeah. Go ahead, man.
About you and I. You and I back in college, and it obviously dates us a little bit here, but you know, the story is you and I were hanging out one day. I think it was after a summer ball game, and you know, you and I were just shooting back and forth, talking about baseball, and you brought the question to me because it was to be honest, it was baffling me, right? And I don't think at that time I had the answer, but I have the answer now. Yeah. Right. And so 100%, you came to me and you were like, you know, Benny, Kyle, like, I don't get it. You throw 84 to 86 and yet these guys swing and miss at your stuff all the time. I'm throwing 88 to 90, touching 92, 93. And these guys are on it sometimes. Like, I don't get it. Yeah. Right. And it was funny because at that time, that was what, 2008, we're dating ourselves now. 2007, 2008, somewhere in there. And I didn't have an answer for you. I was like, I don't know. I throw the baseball and it works. Like, they don't hit it. I can't tell you. But today, the difference is I know this now because of our technology. I have a very high spin rate from my velocity. Yeah. Right. And obviously this doesn't help me now. I can't throw harder than 75 miles an hour. I'll never make it again. Right. Yeah. So my arm's done, man. Like two elbow surgeries. I need a shoulder surgery. It ain't happening. Yeah. But what I found out is my spin rate was very, very high from my velocity. So what that meant is when I threw a fastball and I had good spin efficiency, which again, I don't know if I did or didn't on a particular pitch back in the day because I didn't have technology like this to tell me. But if I had good spin efficiency, I stayed behind the baseball and I threw my four-seam fastball at a hitter, there was a good chance he was going to swing underneath it and miss it completely. Yeah. Right. And I didn't know that as a younger player when I was playing, but I know that now because I understand what my spin rate does to the ball dropping over time. Right. Okay. The higher your spin rate is per your velocity, the longer the ball will stay in the air and less gravity will take over. Yep. Okay. Right. And obviously there's different ways to think about that on off-speed pitches, but on a fastball in general, if you have a high spin rate, you can pitch up in the zone. The ball, quote unquote, rides through the zone. And if you have a low spin rate on the other side of this whole thing, if you have a low spin rate for your fastball, you're going to get more run and or sink on your fastball, right? So those guys who have low spin rates for their velocity should develop two-seam fastballs and sliders in order to maximize what they're already creating with their fastball.
Makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense. So what's, I heard you say this in an Instagram video. What's the magic number there? Isn't it, what did you say? About 23 to 2,400 on the spin rate for a four-seam fastball is considered average. Is that correct?
You're very close. So what that is, what I did there is I created a So there's two ways to think about it. I call it SRN, spin rate normalization.
Okay.
The actual term was coined from driveline and was called Bauer units, right? Or BUs. I call it spin rate normalization because that's driveline's thing. I'll let them keep it. I'll create my own. But basically what we're doing is we're taking our spin rate. So if you guys are looking at the screen, you see 2240 as the spin rate. If I divide that by 90.7, that's going to give me a score, right? And in Major League Baseball, which is where we have the most data of anything, Major League Baseball has the information that tells us that 24 or 92.3 miles an hour on a fastball and 2250 to 2290 is average velocity and spin rate. If you take the average spin rate divided by the average velocity, you're going to get a score right about 24. Okay. The players that have a spin rate normalization or an SRN score of 24 are the pitchers that get hit the hardest. And it's unfortunate, but that is what every hitter is expecting to see when the ball comes into the zone, right? Yeah. So now, everything that we know now is you want to be abnormal, right? So the players that have a higher SRN score or Bauer unit score, right? If they get into those 25, 26, the hitter in the box is still perceiving the ball to be where it's supposed to be at that player with the 24 SRN score. But that pitcher with that 25 or 26 SRN score, that pitch comes in 2 or 3 inches higher, it's a swing and a miss.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. And so then, like you already said, the players, if one of the players watching this goes and purchases this Diamond Kinetics products and they start throwing bullpens to a catcher or into a net, because I know this ball can be thrown to a catcher, it can be thrown into a net. You guys advise that don't throw it against the wall or anything because it is an expensive product with some big time technology in it. Once you develop that fingerprint, like you said, for the hitting fingerprint, because that's essentially what's happening here, you start to realize, okay, my score here is at 23, 24. So at that point, we either need to make some mechanical adjustments to increase the spin rate, or we need to dump the 4-seam and go to a 2-seam, correct? Is that the assumption there?
Absolutely. And so the thing is, I'm actually writing I wish it was a book. That'd be kind of cool. But I'm writing a document right now that I'm probably going to release to everybody that actually outlines this. It says, hey, look, if you have a pitch tracker baseball and you have a subscription to our app, I can tell you how to be your absolute best based on the numbers you have, right? So going back to what you're talking about, yes, like if a player understands their BUs, they understand their spin rate normalization, they understand how their fastball plays, we can now take it a step further. We can go into pitch sequencing, how to throw 2 to 3 pitches off one another to make them look exactly the same. I know there was a video going out on YouTube for a while with Cole's fastball, changeup, and slider. That's tunneling. And if you understand your fastball and how it plays, if you have good BUs, low BUs, average BUs, like we can figure all this out and we can come up with it. We can come up with a pitch sequence that's going to maximize your abilities. We can create tunnels, which is going to make it harder for the pitcher to decide what pitch is coming until it's too late. And then we can come up with pitch design. We can help you maximize your off-speed pitches or your fastball, for example, just because we understand what the numbers are doing. And as coaches, if we make the mechanical adjustments to the player to get the numbers we want, that player is going to produce for you. And he's going to produce for you at a high level. Yeah, right? That
makes perfect sense, man.
Yeah.
That's good stuff, dude. Absolutely. So what else you got here for us before we kind of wrap this up and move on to the next, couple talking points?
Yeah, real quick, just show you some video here, right? This is that D1 kid I was showing you. Yeah. All I did here, just to give you guys an idea, all I did was hold my iPad up and hit record. He threw the ball, and the ball told the app when to cut this video. So I did nothing. All I did was hold it up and hit record. It did everything else. It cut the video and it paired it to pitch number 15 that you see at the top. So
That's
you don't
great.
have to do anything. Once you hit record, just throw the ball. The ball will cut the video and save it for you.
That's great, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really cool.
The other thing we can do is charting, which I love. We don't need to spend any time on this tonight, but charting the pitches does allow you to sort and separate your data by pitch type, which is
Awesome.
Phenomenal. So you know what your average curveball spin is, you know what your fastball spin is. Hey, maybe I have a really low spin efficiency on my changeup. I should probably work to fix that, right? So if you chart pitches, it'll sort and separate the data. We can get into that another time, but it is a feature that we offer.
Awesome, man. That's great stuff, dude. Really, really good stuff. So
I'm gonna come back to you, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely. No, man. Hey, thank you for taking us through that. I know, like I said, this is an interview process. I don't really care about the time limit because you know what? We're not some big show. We're just doing this for information to get out there for everyone. So, dude, that stuff right there is what we need to hear in this community. And that needs to also be said. You guys, that's just the baseball side. This is big in softball too. This is huge in softball. Huge. It's taking off. Huge. And especially when we talk about the rise ball, right? That ability to do crazy stuff. These women can do insane things with the pitches. And so you're getting the best of both worlds. Yes, man. It's incredible. So those features that you just took us through, I want everybody to understand, that's just a small sample, really, probably only about 50% of what you guys can do with those products. We just don't have the time to go through it. But, man, one thing I want to bring up here is this. Let me ask you this. Where is this product being used the most? Where's Diamond Kinetics really taking off? And I know you guys said you're getting the bulk of your information from MLB. Where are you seeing the most benefits from it?
Yeah, so I mean, well, to answer your first question, I mean, on the adoption side, we obviously work with over half of MLB. They're due to laws and things like that, there's not as much that we can talk about. We work with the Dodgers, Yankees, Blue Jays. There's a couple of teams that are in there that we can publicly talk about because obviously they've voiced their love and adoration for us. But we work with over half of MLB, and obviously if the top level is adopting us, we would hope and assume that everyone else, it would kind of trickle down and come that way. But that's not our focus. Like, yes, we want MLB using us. We want the big leagues using it because it validates what we're doing. But at the end of the day, we work with top 5 power 5 D1 programs. We work with NAIA, D2, D3, JUCOs. I got a slew of partners out here that we work with. And then we work a lot with travel organizations, elite programs out there that are raising young players into these games, whether it be baseball or softball. We're bringing those players in those elite programs. Obviously here in Southern California, it's a softball hotbed. There's softball players all over the country. If you look on any good Division I roster, there's players here in Southern California that they're from. So, there's players and travel teams and organizations all around the country that are utilizing us. And right now, especially with the outbreak and the pandemic that's going on, our technology has become more of a necessity than it had in the past. And it's not like it wasn't a necessity before, because we do measure and evaluate a lot of really good things. But now that you can't be with a coach, you can't get into your facility, you can't just run down to your hitting coach and go get a lesson. Like, there's a lot of things you cannot do today that our technology and our sensor, our ball, will actually help you do now, so your coaches can see it and actually help you while we're in this pandemic.
Yeah. So, I mean, you basically just answered, our last talking point, which was, why is this product so important to the developmental side of the game, man? And, you just crushed it right there, because we're in the middle of something that we've never dealt with in our lifetime before. And a lot of athletes are every athlete's being affected by it, right? Like, where sports are shut down right now and kids are searching for ways to get better. Man, I couldn't think of a better reason to have a product like this in my hands, whether it be the bat sensor or the ball, or hey, how about both? And you know, this is something that was really fascinating. So I want you to hit this. And guys, I hate to like put plugs up on it, but dude, he's dropping some knowledge here on us. So for all of you guys listening, I really hope you stuck it out through this video. I'm going to make sure that I tell you guys, please watch the final few minutes of this video, because he's going to give you guys some incredible information here on the prices and stuff that's going on. You really need to take a listen here.
So like you said, right, we're here, we're trying to support the community, we're trying to help out baseball and softball players around the country do things at home. I personally have done an entire pitching series. If you guys go to diamondkinetics.com, you'll see our play at home stuff at the top. I've done a video series on pitching stuff that you guys can do at home, things you guys can work on. Obviously the spin rate normalization chart is on there as well. That's the one that you saw. But guys, Diamond Kinetics is doing our play at home initiative. And what we are trying to do is help you at home play and train while your seasons have been suspended, ended, waiting for the summer, waiting for the fall. We know we need to be doing stuff. Diamond Kinetics is here to help. And with the backing of USA Baseball, we are giving away 6 months free subscriptions to both our pitch tracker app, so this ball, and our swing tracker bat sensor here. Okay, obviously those you're going to have to pay for. I'm going to talk about that in a second, but we are a subscription-based service. If you guys want it, you can just go to our website right now, diamondkinetics.com, go to our shop, look it up, click on the 6-month free subscription, download it. They will email you a coupon. You have that for free. It's a minimum of a $25 to $50 value from us for free. And then on top of it, we are selling these on our website. If you guys use the code HOME20, okay, HOME20, you can pick up a ball and or a bat sensor for $90. So $90 will get you a 6-month subscription to our service and the unit. Yeah. If you just go to our site and hit HOME20.
Now, this can be used with the app downloaded on any smartphone or iPad, correct? Is it also work on a computer as well? Does it relay that, or is it just an iPad or a smartphone?
So we are on iOS only, so it's Apple, it's okay. iPad, iPhone.
Okay.
But we also have our web app. So if people don't have an iOS device, technically, if they collect data at their practice per se, yes, they could view it at home and be able to see it on their computer. App.diamondkinetics.com will take you to the back end. You'll be good.
Okay. Now, last thing. Once these 6 months are up, just give us a little base price of what the subscription fee is, because I know everybody's going to want to know about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously we're giving away the 6 months for free right now, which is a phenomenal value. Even if you guys, I'm just going to say this now, even if you do not have our ball or our bat sensor, go sign up for it. It's free. We're giving it to you. Yeah. And it's worth money. Like if you don't use it, you don't use it, but don't not go get it. Go get it. Yeah. Right. Otherwise at the monthly level, our pitching subscription is, so if you want to use the ball and collect all the metrics, it's going to cost you $10 a month. If you want to use the bat sensor, which I mean, it's nothing. I mean, it's pennies on the dollar if you want to improve. But I mean, it does cost money. I mean, we're giving it away for free. So I'm trying to entice people to say, just go get a subscription. I don't care if you have this yet, go get it. And then on the hitting side, it's $5 a month or $55 a year. So essentially we're giving you $25 worth of free product.
$55 a year to do the hitting. And what's the combination if you want to do both?
It's gonna be the $9.99 and the $4.99, so $5. So it'd be $14.99 a month if you do both.
Okay, so I mean, man, you're looking at unbelievable prices, free 6-month subscription. Like, I sound like I'm plugging this too, and I'm really not, because I mean, the people who know me know I'm an instructor. If you guys who are my clientele or anybody who's watching this video, because I know there's going to be people who don't even know the two of us here, it doesn't matter. If you work with an instructor, you should have something like this. This is great data you can show to your instructors who are saying, hey, look, I can help you. I see what you're talking about. Let's look at that. Let's work on that changeup. Let's dump the 4-seam. Let's go to a 2-seam. Hey, your hands are casting. Let's look at that hot chart. You know what I mean? This is incredible information that, given the time that we're in right now, could be bolstering kids' developmental process so much further than what they're getting right now. Just by there's nothing wrong with going down to the basement and working on a bucket of balls and just putting in that elbow grease, right? Like, that's going to make you better. But man, wouldn't it be great to have that sensor that you can now take after your 50 swings, look back and see every single swing. My hands are casting. My barrel is dipping. I don't have that bat speed that Kyle's talking about. You know what I mean? And you start to see how that plays. And what the best part about it is what you said. Every hitter's unique. Every pitcher's unique. Maybe some guys have a little bit lower bat angle coming into, you know, launch position, if you want to call it that, or strike position. Yeah. Who cares? If your barrel speed's hot and you're looking at your projected damage like it showed, man, those are things right there. You're hitting into a net, but guess what? You can look back and say, that ball went 337 feet. I know I got it.
Hey, how many times have you heard in your career, quality over quantity?
Right? Yes. Yes, man.
What are we doing and what are we talking about right now? We are taking, if you put this sensor on your bat, or you put this ball in your hand, every rep you take, every throw you make, every swing you take is now important. Yeah. The quality of the rep now becomes important. Why? Because we have leaderboards. Yeah. We can measure where you stack up amongst your peers. We can measure if you're not putting in your work. We can go in and see your calendar and see, oh, look, Johnny ain't taking his swings, right? Yeah. Johnny forgot to do his homework this week. Yeah.
And that's the best part, Kyle. That's the best part. It's accountability for these kids. And I know it feels like now the interview, we've got through the informational side of things, and I know we're getting ready to wrap it up, man, but this is the real talk here. As coaches, you're a former junior college coach, man. You're a former collegiate baseball player. You know, I'm a former collegiate and professional baseball player. We know what accountability is. I mean, we had to learn it, but this is great because it gives you instantaneous feedback and allows you to take each rep and see the true value of what your work is producing. And that's just incredible. So, man, the technology that you guys have is literally at times almost incomprehensible to see it coming at you. And it's just fascinating. I know right now I've got a 7-year-old son who's about to turn 8. Guess what he's getting for his 8th birthday? He's going to get a bat sensor, and we might even mess around and see if Dad's old arm can muster up 78 and see what my spin rate is.
Yeah, well, hey, I'll have to see what I got in my box here. I might have to send you a little care package.
Yeah, let me know, man. But hey, dude, I want to wrap this up, and I want to tell you this was a fantastic interview. I knew it was going to go well, and man, thank you so much for coming on and just absolutely dropping some knowledge that everybody needs to hear. So, dude, I look forward to hopefully talking to you again. Maybe we'll do something a little bit down the road here. And last but not least, man, take care of yourself, be safe, and, man, let's let the kids play. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Hey, let's do it. I'm down to get back on. And, again, all of you guys that are listening, go to diamondkinetics.com right now. Pick up your free subscriptions. It's free money. Grab it. If you don't have the money to pay for the ball right now, still get the subscription and then buy the ball later. It still works. Go get it right now. I'm telling you guys, it's free. We want to help you. Do it.
Yeah, last thing. What's your Instagram page where people can see these play at home series that's going on? Is that also Diamond Kinetics on Instagram?
Yeah, so it's going to be on Diamond Kinetics, at Diamond Kinetics. You'll find a bunch of videos from me, a bunch of videos from other people at Diamond Kinetics, or you can find my personal page at Kyle Bennett with 2 T's, DK. Kyle Bennett DK. Find me. I'm there. Add me. If you want to ask me any questions, I'm there. I'll answer them. I'm on Instagram all the time.
Awesome, man. Kyle, appreciate it, dude. Nothing but love for you, man. Hope all's well. Take care of yourself, okay?
And I love you, buddy.
All right. See you, man.